Thank you, loyal viewers, for tuning in to the Fan Network. This is your host, Steve, as always, here and ready to deliver you the news. This afternoon, we have breaking news. The government has actually decided to give the people a say in what we do with our government spending. The government has released $10 whole. This is money that is a gracious donation on the part of our federal government. It is completely in the hands of you, the people, who get to decide what to do with the $10. Our government needs you to debate and decide where this beautiful $10 bill is going to be spent. In other news, it has recently come to our attention here that the president does not wash his pants. We have multiple reports from many sources saying that he also wears the same pair of pants every day. He does not wash them, he does not iron them, he does not dry them, and we've actually noticed that the president may only have one pair of pants. As you can see in our documentary footage, the president is wearing the same pair of pants in each speech, as well as we have no evidence that these pants are actually being washed. We have received reports from the scientists who analyze his garbage that, indeed, in the dryer lint they have found in his waste material, that there is no evidence of pant fibers being present. So, that being said, the scientists have been pulling apart the dryer lint for quite a few days now, and all the fibers seem to be of shirts, towels, and underwear. So at least he does clean his underwear. That's very relieving for all you folks at home there. Thanks for tuning in to the Fan Network. This is Steve, signing off. And remember, always think about where do you want to spend the $10? Good evening, folks, and last night around this time, we were receiving the first phone calls about the spaghetti rain that were developing in the northeastern parts of the country. In the higher elevations that are related to the negative temperatures is where we first started to see the spaghetti rain. The only other thing that we've seen of this type reminds us of the Penne storm that happened 2 years ago in the metropolitan area. So this is the biggest spaghetti rainfall ever, as it's the first we've seen of its kind. So let's go to Steve. Steve is in the field now, and they're reporting on the very real-time action of the spaghetti rainstorm. Thanks, Steve. This is Steve reporting on the spaghetti rainfall. As you can see, we've got noodle-like precipitations coming from all kinds of places. The texture is a little bit different from the Penne storm that we've seen 2 years ago. It seems to be consisting of longer and more noodle-y type precipitations. I'd say that it's not seemed to be melting. This type of precipitation does not melt. So folks, I'd say leave the flamethrowers and the snowblowers at home because it doesn't seem to be melting, and if you use the snowblowers, it might clog up your machinery. So, and I'd say we've already got about 5 to 10 centimeters in the higher elevations of this spaghetti rain, and it might take quite a long time for it to disperse. So shovels are actually the best method of spaghetti rain removal. So back to you, Steve. And there you have it. Thanks, Steve. So a new system seems to be approaching from the southeast, and it should be able to provide relief in the early hours of Monday or Tuesday morning, and that should help for all you folks to get back to your regularly scheduled routines. Thank you, Steve. This is Steve, logging off for the night. And remember, always think about where do you want to spend the $10? Thank you for tuning into the Fan Network. Here we are in the metropolitan area, bringing you the weather. It has been raining for 90 days in a row, and today marks the 91st day in a row of rain. We are not expecting for this rain to stop anytime soon, and we imagine that the rain count will continue into well past 100 days of rain in a row. The station is leaking, so we're doing our best here to keep as much of the rain away from the station as possible, but we're doing our best, and unfortunately the rain does get in. My shoes are wet, my pants are wet, my socks are wet, and unfortunately when I take my shoes off at night, they do not dry in time for the next day, in which case they are still wet the next day when I begin my day and the conditions do not improve. This can be said for pretty much everything. The station is wet, the floor is wet. Our table was stolen last week, but thankfully we have a new table, and this table is still dry since it is new, but I expect within the hour it will also be wet. That's Fan Network bringing you the weather. Thank you. And remember, always think about where do you want to spend the $10? Good morning, loyal viewers. Thanks for tuning in again to the Fan Network. Here we are now at 91 days of rain in a row and yet another day of rain. We will put up the rain count today, 92. The rain is really taking its toll on all of us here at the station. The morale is very low, but we hope that one day this rain will subside, and if it does not, we will remain in spirit, strong, and brave the rain for as many more days as will come. 92 days of rain has been a very interesting journey for all of us here. The station is completely flooded. We are constantly on the hour having to evacuate the rain from the roof so it does not leak on our heads. I believe it is that hour right now. The station is under great stress from the rain, but there's nothing we can do. The main street in the city has completely filled with water. It would be ill-advised to drive through it, so if you do need to take Main today to get to your destination, wherever that may be, I would highly recommend taking the detours. That's all for the news today. Let's hope that it doesn't rain tomorrow. This is Steve signing off from the Fan Network. Hope you have a good day and try to stay dry out there.